Welcome to part 2. Meet my narcissistic mother. Her arrival to my wedding. The wedding hall shimmered under chandeliers, the air buzzing with laughter and clinking glasses. I could feel the music vibrating through my chest, the joy of the day finally drowning out months of drama and chaos. I was radiant in white like an angel, my husband by my side, the future wide open before us. Then she arrived unannounced. The doors wide opened. The music didn't stop, but the room did. Heads turned in her direction. Voices hushed. My guest looking confused at the unceremonious arrival of my mother. She stood in the doorway like a queen in exile reclaiming her throne. My mother. The narcissistic drama queen. Draped in a dazzling Kenyan native attire, with layers of colorful fabric flowing around her like royalty. Gold earrings that grazed her shoulders. Her smile stretched wide, her steps carefully practiced, and perfect. And behind her, two young women in matching Kenyan outfits, they were maids, her attendants, each holding ornate baskets wrapped in shimmering cloth. They are probably gifts, offerings, bribes, weapons. The whispers spread like wildfire. That's exactly the sort of entrance she wanted. Chaos, distraction, commotion. Look who we have here. Who is she? She must be part of the family. A guest replied. Oh, she looks so incredibly beautiful, said another guest. Every step she took was slow, deliberate, echoing against the marble like a drumbeat. She wasn't just walking into my wedding, she was staging an entrance. A performance. Her eyes found me, and her smile deepened. It wasn't warmth, it was victory. I felt my stomach twist, the joy of the day flickering like a candle in the wind. My husband stiffened beside me, his jaw tightening. Uncle Jomo, seated near the front, shifted uncomfortably in his chair, his eyes darting between me and her, as though bracing for the explosion. And the gifts. One was lifted high, covered in kitenge cloth, her maid's arms trembling under its weight. My mother's voice rose, smooth and theatrical. A bride is never complete without the blessing of her mother. I have come to bless my daughter. The hall erupted, half in awe, half in confusion. Some clapped. Some gasped. But I just stood frozen, my heart pounding. Because I knew my mother. And this wasn't a blessing. This was war, dressed up in gold and fabric. The wedding was no longer mine. It was hers. The reception was supposed to feel like a release, laughter, dancing, love spilling freely into the night. Instead, it felt like a play I hadn't auditioned for. My mother had taken her seat at the front, flanked by her two attendants who never smiled, only nodded when she did. Her gifts sat at the foot of the stage, wrapped and glimmering like trophies, reminders that she had arrived, uninvited, unstoppable. She owned the room without trying. Or maybe that was the problem, she always tried. Every laugh too loud, every compliment too rehearsed. She floated from table to table, a perfect performance of maternal pride. My daughter looks so beautiful, doesn't she? Oh, she gets that glow from me. It's such a proud day for our family. Family. The word hit like a bruise I'd already learned to ignore. I smiled, clapped, posed for photos, the good daughter on her big day. Every time the flash went off, I wondered if it could capture the truth behind my smile. At one point, I caught Uncle Jomo watching her with that wary look again, the same one he'd had the night she wouldn't stop shouting. He leaned toward her, trying to whisper something. She waved him off with a flick of her jeweled wrist. Then she turned to my husband, her voice carrying just enough to reach the nearby tables. You must be very patient, marrying into our family. McKenna can be fiery sometimes. But she means well. Laughter. Polite, confused laughter. My husband froze, his polite smile straining at the edges. I excused myself before the tears could betray me. Welcome to the garden outside the hall. The night air hit me like freedom. My makeup was flawless, my smile not so much. Inside, her laughter rang out, high, melodic, calculated. She was charming them. She was rewriting the story again, one audience at a time. They say weddings bring families together. But sometimes, they just remind you why you left. I stood there under the fairy lights, staring up at the stars, trying to breathe. My husband followed a few moments later, slipping his hand into mine. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. "It's my mother again. She's turning my wedding into her show," I whispered. "Like always." He sighed. "Then let her perform." But this time, the audience isn't buying it. I wanted to believe my husband. I really did. But as I looked back through the glass doors at her, radiant, commanding, adored, I wasn't so sure. Because my mother never needed an audience to win. She just needed a stage. The night had deepened, the lights in the hall softened to gold. The air was thick with perfume, laughter, and the hum of conversation. For a brief moment, I let myself believe the storm had passed. But storms don't end when the rain stops. They end when the sky decides to stop mourning. The MC clinked his glass for silence. It's time for a few words from the people who mean the most to our beautiful couple. Applause. Smiles. My heart began to race. One by one, the speeches began, short, sweet, and full of love. Friends spoke. My husband's parents spoke. Then Uncle Jomo stood, his deep voice steady but cautious. "McKenna, you've grown into a woman of strength, grace, and courage. May this marriage bring you peace, the kind of peace you've fought so hard to find." The applause was warm, kind. For a moment, I thought we could end it there. But then my mother stood. A ripple of whispers swept through the tables. Cameras lifted. She took the microphone, smiled like she was born with one in her hand, and looked straight at me. "My beautiful daughter." She paused embarrassingly, looking at my guest. "You've always been stubborn. Always wanted to do things your way. Even when it hurt you." Laughter again, confused, nervous. My husband's fingers tightened around mine. "But I forgive you," she continued, voice dripping honey. "Because today, you've made me proud. You've chosen well. And though you pushed me away." Her eyes flicked toward the guests. "A mother's love can never be silenced," she added. The room fell into an uneasy quiet. Some smiled politely. Others looked away. My throat closed up. I could feel everyone's eyes darting between us, between her poised grace and my frozen silence. There it was again. The performance. Forgiveness as humiliation. Love as power. Control dressed up as grace. I rose slowly, forcing a smile. The kind that hides everything. "Thank you, Mum." My voice cracked slightly. "You've always known how to make an entrance." A few people laughed, but the tension stayed. My husband gently guided me back to my seat. She bowed her head slightly, a queen acknowledging her victory. And I knew, deep down, this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. They say every wedding ends with a toast. But mine ended with a warning. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 2, The Morning After. The sun rose gently, as if afraid to touch what the night had left behind. Our hotel room was silent except for the hum of the city outside. The champagne glasses from last night still sat half full on the table. My wedding bouquet lay on the dresser, wilted around the edges. I sat at the edge of the bed, still in my nightgown, my hair undone, staring at the ring on my finger like it was proof that the day had really happened. They say weddings are the beginning of forever. But I woke up feeling like I'd just survived something, not started it. My husband stirred beside me, then sat up slowly, rubbing his eyes. He looked at me, not with regret, but with concern. You've been quiet, he said softly. I don't know what to say. About last night? I nodded. My mother's images flashed behind my eyes, her smile, her voice, her performance dressed in gold. He reached for my hand, his thumb tracing slow circles against my skin. She wanted to steal the moment. But she didn't. You still have it. We still have it. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But her words still echoed in the corners of my mind. A mother's love can never be silenced. And maybe she was right. Maybe love wasn't something you could mute, only survive. The newsfeed. Later that morning, I picked up my phone, hundreds of notifications lighting up the screen. Photos. Videos. Clips of her speech. Her image was everywhere, trending hashtags, reshared moments, comments flooding in, such a proud mother. Beautiful family moment. That speech gave me chills. No one saw what I saw. No one heard the poison between her words. She'd won again, not the moment, but the memory. I tossed the phone aside and sank back against the pillows, tears stinging my eyes. My husband leaned in, voice steady but firm. Then let's make new memories. Ones she can't touch. My husband reached for my hand again, grounding me. His eyes were tired too, he'd been fighting a war he didn't sign up for. You don't have to fix this, McKenna. You just have to start living beyond it. Then I walked into the bathroom, the mirror fogged with steam from his shower. I wiped it clear, and for a second, I didn't recognize the woman staring back. No veil. No makeup. No performance. Just me, McKenna. For the first time, I wasn't trying to be the daughter she wanted, or the bride everyone expected. I was just McKenna. And maybe that's enough for my husband. I took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and whispered the smallest prayer I knew. Dear God, I pray, please help me to protect my peace, and the grace for restraint, even from the people I love. The week after the wedding felt like a dream I was still learning to believe in. Our bags sat half-packed by the door, honeymoon essentials, travel documents, sunscreen, joy. We'd decided to start in Nigeria, to see my father's side of the family before heading to South Africa. It felt right, grounding, restorative. A chance to connect with where I came from, on my terms. I wanted to start our marriage by facing my roots, not the ones that hurt me, but the ones that still held me. My husband sat across the room, laptop open, confirming our flight details. His calm energy steadied me, the way he always did. Then my phone rang. The name on the screen made my stomach drop. Mum. I hesitated for a second, long enough for him to notice. You can let it go to voicemail, he said gently. No, I whispered. If I don't answer, she'll just keep calling. I swacked to accept the call. Hello, Mum. Her voice came sharp, precise, familiar. McKenna, I just heard you're going to Nigeria. Who told you that was a good idea? No greeting. No congratulations. Just interrogation. It's part of our honeymoon. We're visiting Dad's family. Your father's family, she repeated, her tone dripping with disdain. Those people have done nothing for you. Why would you waste your first days as a married woman on them? I swallowed hard. Because they are my family too. Family, she scoffed. Don't talk to me about family when you embarrassed yours in front of the whole world. You think I didn't see how you looked at me at that wedding? The words hit like stones. My husband froze mid-typing, listening in silence. Mum, please. Not now. This isn't about you. Everything about you is about me, she snapped. You carry my blood, my name, my legacy. Don't forget where your real home is. My voice broke. My home is with him now. With us. There was a pause, the kind that stretched too long to be safe. Then, softly, almost sweetly, she said, "We'll see about that." The line went dead. I sat frozen, phone still pressed to my ear. My husband walked over, gently prying it from my hand. "She's trying to start a new war," he said quietly. "She already has," I whispered. "Some wars don't begin with armies. They begin with phone calls that sound like love, and end like threats." Welcome to Season 2, Episode 2. The Second Wedding. Nigerians definitely know how to organize big parties. The Lagos air hit me differently on our arrival. It was thick with heat, loud music, and a kind of joy that didn't need permission to exist. This is Nigeria. From the moment we stepped out of the airport, I could feel the difference. Smiles everywhere. Laughter spilling into the streets. Aunties I'd never met hugging me like they'd been waiting my whole life for that moment. Kenya raised me. But Nigeria, I smiled, Nigeria welcomed me with both hands. My father stood by the arrival's gate, tall, aging gracefully, pride glowing behind tired eyes. He hugged me tight, longer than I expected. "You're home now, my daughter. This is home." The word hit softer here. The next morning, we dressed in traditional Yoruba attire, deep blue aso-oke for me, a matching agbada for my husband. He looked proud, slightly awkward, but willing to blend into my world. My father's family gathered in the compound, women wrapped in gold and coral, men in crisp white buba and caps. The air smelled of jollof, fried plantain, and the faint smoke of burning incense. Then, the prayers began. We knelt side by side on a woven mat while the elders surrounded us, hands raised. "We bless this union," one of them said. "May it not know sorrow. May peace follow them wherever they go. May they find joy in each other's laughter, and comfort in their silence." Their voices blended like a choir, deep, rhythmic, sincere. I felt tears roll down before I even noticed them. For the first time, a blessing didn't sound like control. It sounded like love. My husband squeezed my hand gently, and when I turned to look at him, he was smiling, wide, grateful, in awe. Then the celebration. We thought it was going to be a small family lunch. We were wrong. That evening, a driver picked us up and took us to a massive hall in Lekki. Lights. Drums. Guests in vibrant Ankara prints and lace. A banner stretched across the stage, McKenna and Daniel, a celebration of love and new beginnings. I turned to my husband, stunned. "Did you know about this?" "No idea," he laughed. "But I'm not complaining." The moment we stepped in, the DJ switched tracks, Afrobeat thundered through the speakers. The crowd erupted. Phones lifted. Hands clapped. My father walked us to the front, grinning. "In Nigeria," he whispered, "we don't do quiet celebrations. We danced. We laughed. We forgot." For hours, there was no shadow, no past, no pain. Just music, color, and the comfort of being surrounded by people who wanted nothing but our joy. Kenya gave me history. Nigeria gave me healing. That night, under the Lagos sky, I realized something. I hadn't just come to visit my father's family. I'd come to meet the version of myself I'd never known, the one that could exist outside of my mother's shadow. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 2, Part 4, The Night Call. Lagos had wrapped itself around me like a warm, rhythmic hug. Everywhere we went, music followed, horns blaring, laughter spilling out of bars, the air alive with the pulse of Afrobeats. That night, we found ourselves in a rooftop lounge in Lekki. The city below shimmered like liquid gold, and for the first time in a long time, I felt weightless. There's a kind of happiness that feels borrowed. Like the universe is giving you a glimpse of what peace could be. My husband was on his second mojito, swaying offbeat but grinning from ear to ear. I couldn't stop laughing at his dance moves. Then, my phone buzzed. Notifications. Dozens of them. Instagram. Our photos from the party had gone up. Me in blue aso-oke, my husband smiling beside me, the crowd, the colors, the joy. The comments poured in. This is so beautiful. You look like royalty. This love is glowing. Even Auntie Grace had commented, my daughter, you are radiant. God's hand is on your marriage. We are proud of you. I smiled, heart full. For once, the story being told about me was full of love, not pain. So I posted a few more pictures. The prayers. The dancing. The laughter. And that's when the call came. Mum calling, the name lit up my phone like a warning light. My husband saw it first. His smile faltered. Are you going to answer? If I don't, she'll just find another way to reach me. I swiped to answer, pressing the phone to my ear over the thump of music. Hello, Mum. Her voice cut through the noise, cold, sharp, familiar. So this is what you call respect. My stomach dropped. What? You post pictures of yourself half naked, dancing like a stranger, and your husband smiling like a fool. This is how you honor me. Mum, I'm not half naked, it's traditional attire. It's culture. Culture, she hissed. You left your own for another man's. You think you're a Nigerian now? The club's music felt distant suddenly, muffled under the weight of her words. I'm both, Mum, I said quietly. Kenyan and Nigerian. That's who I am. She laughed, bitter and low. You are confused, McKenna. A confused girl pretending to be a woman. You think your father's people can give you what you lost when you turned your back on me. Her words clawed at me, pulling me back into that old familiar pit. I swallowed hard, my voice trembling. Mum, please don't ruin this for me. You did that yourself, she snapped. And don't think I don't know where this ends. You'll come crawling back. You always do. The line went dead. I stood there in silence, the phone still pressed against my ear. My husband reached for me, worry written all over his face. They say joy and pain can't coexist. But that night, they danced together, one to the rhythm of Afrobeats, the other to the echo of her voice. The next morning after the call, I felt different. The sunlight poured through the hotel curtains, but it didn't feel warm. It felt like it was exposing something, a truth I didn't want to face. My husband sat by the window, sipping coffee, scrolling quietly through his phone. Normally, he'd hum while doing it. This morning, there was only silence. It's strange how silence between two people can say so much. Last night, my mother spoke for less than 5 minutes, and somehow, it's all I could hear. I tried to smile when he looked up, but he just gave me that searching look, the one that saw through every mask. You didn't sleep, he said softly. Neither did you, I replied. He sighed, putting his phone down. McKenna, you can't keep letting her do this to you. I looked away. My voice came out smaller than I wanted. She's my mother. No. She's your wound. That hurt, not because it wasn't true, but because it was. The message from Auntie Grace. Later that day, while packing for our trip to South Africa, a message popped up on my phone. Auntie Grace, Kenya, my dear, I saw your photos. You looked happy. Don't let anyone steal that. Remember, love is louder than shame. I felt my throat tighten. Auntie Grace had always been the quiet opposite of my mother, gentle where she was harsh, present where she was proud. Sometimes love doesn't need to shout to be heard. Sometimes it just whispers, and somehow, that's enough. I sent a reply with trembling fingers, thank you, Auntie. I needed that. That night, in the soft glow of the hotel lamps, we sat across from each other, the silence thicker than ever. I don't know how to make you understand, I said quietly. If I ignore her, she'll find another way to reach me. If I answer, I open the door again. Then maybe it's time to lock it, he said. You don't understand African mothers, I snapped. You can't just block them out like spam. Maybe not, he said, voice calm but firm, but I understand trauma. And this is eating you alive. The air hung heavy between us. His love felt close, but his patience felt like it was thinning. I turned away, whispering, you knew who she was before you married me. Yeah, he said softly. But I didn't know she'd still be in our marriage. I froze. There it was. The thing I was afraid someone would say out loud. You can run from a home. But it's harder to run from the echo. Later that day, the decision wasn't sudden. It came quietly, the way peace often does, after you've run out of ways to survive the noise. That night, I told my husband I was done answering her calls. I told him about the knots in my stomach every time the phone lit up with her name, about the shaking hands, the sleepless nights, the guilt that clung like perfume I couldn't wash off. He listened, holding my hand the whole time, eyes soft but steady. And then I told him the other thing. We were sitting on the balcony, the Lagos skyline glittering in the distance. The air was warm and thick with the hum of city life. I'd been quiet all evening, tracing circles on the rim of my glass, heart pounding. There's something I need to tell you, I whispered. You're scaring me, he said gently, smiling. What is it? I took a deep breath. I think I'm pregnant. For a second, the world just stopped. His face went blank, shock, disbelief, then joy flooding in like sunlight. You're serious? I nodded, tears in my eyes. I just found out this afternoon. He stood, pacing in circles, laughing under his breath before dropping to his knees in front of me. McKenna, this is incredible. And for the first time in a long time, I let myself feel joy without fear. It had started that afternoon. My father's sister, Auntie Neka, had stopped by with home-cooked stew and that sharp, knowing look only older women have. We sat in her garden, her voice low and calm. You've been quieter lately, my child, she said. And your body, it's telling a story. I frowned, confused. What story? Pregnancy, she said simply, with a small smile. I laughed it off, insisting she was mistaken. She just chuckled, eyes twinkling. Mothers see what others don't. Your face, your walk, even your eyes, they've changed. Don't argue. Just check. She placed her palm gently on my hand, her voice suddenly serious. If it's true, protect your peace. Pregnant women attract words. Guard your heart, and your joy. After leaving her house, I walked straight to a small pharmacy tucked between two cafes. The pharmacist handed me a test kit in a plain paper bag, no questions asked. Back at the hotel, I locked the bathroom door and waited. 2 lines. Clear. Unmistakable. I'd spent years preparing to protect myself from her words. But now, I had something even more fragile to protect. Then they made the decision. Back on the balcony, my husband pulled me close, his voice firm. We're not telling her yet. She'll find out eventually. Then she can find out when the baby is strong enough to survive her energy. I laughed, it was a quiet, tearful laugh. It was the first time he'd said what I'd always been too afraid to admit. My mother's presence could drain life from anything good. That night, we made 2 decisions. To start a new life, and to stop letting the old one steal from it. The city lights flickered below us, 1,000 little promises glowing against the dark. We were supposed to fly to South Africa the following week, wine country, coastal sunsets, a honeymoon that would wash away everything that came before. But peace isn't a place. It's a decision. And that week, we decided to go home. We were packing in silence, the soft hum of the hotel air conditioner filling the space between us. My husband zipped up his suitcase, then looked at me across the room. "You're sure?" he asked. "I am," I said. "I just want to be somewhere familiar. Somewhere quiet." He nodded, no argument, just understanding. That's what love looked like lately. Not fireworks, not promises. Just peace offered quietly, without demand. It wasn't the trip we planned, but it was the one we needed. The kind that takes you home, not just across oceans, but back to yourself. At the airport, as the Lagos sun sank into gold, I placed my hand over my stomach, still flat, still invisible. It was strange, carrying something so fragile and powerful, knowing no one else knew. Not Auntie Grace. Not Dad. Not even my closest friends in London. Just us. It felt like holding light in my palms, trying not to let the world blow it out. "We'll tell them when it's time," my husband said, sensing my thoughts. "For now, it's ours." I nodded, smiling faintly. Ours. That word felt sacred. As the plane ascended, I stared out the window, the city fading into clouds, then into darkness. Each mile between me and my mother felt like air returning to my lungs. I leaned into my husband's shoulder. "Do you think she'll find out?" "Maybe," he said softly. "But by the time she does, we'll be ready." I wanted to believe that. But deep down, I knew, people like her didn't wait for news. They sensed it. Some secrets protect you. Others just buy you time.